People who have a problem with what is being said in any video, regardless of the context, should be open to scrutiny. Viewers like myself may have an interest in what other people have said about the video and may be interested in commenting and rating themselves. Other YouTubers may even take the opportunity to respond to such videos or respond to those that defend them. By pulling them down, they may think, as many who receive the same treatment think, that either YouTube is protecting those being criticized, or that they may be onto something rather than the fact that they did something objectively wrong, such as re-uploading content that already exists, and may require an exchange for viewing or defending an incorrect or indefensible position. If you want more information on my thoughts on fair use, check out the previous video. From the perspective of who's responsible for what YouTube seems to have failed to realize is that people have the ability to do things for themselves, like not click on a video that critiques them, makes jokes at the expense of them, or just disturbs them. Instead, YouTube decides for you whether you can handle watching a video, whether it be about you or not. And in some cases, YouTube gives too much influence to the viewer in regards to what other people can watch if they themselves flag content that they dislike or disagree with. Everything I just said previously still applies. If you can't rate or comment, you can still make your own video on the topic, and if you are afraid of the backlash you receive, you can do the same exact thing. Shut off your ratings and your comments. Now that I'm done ranting, let's get into the flag system. In recent years, the community guidelines or flag system have changed, affecting how filmmakers can go about adding content to their films, whether it be what they can say or what they can show. I can't say when times were simpler, given I have little experience being a filmmaker myself. But today, people's feelings, insecurities, and need for validation I prioritize over people's desire to entertain and or educate others, and need to express themselves how they choose. The system has been abused, misused, and misfired, whether it be by a person who can't handle criticism, or by an automated system that is designed to be extremely sensitive to something that isn't even remotely the thing of which the automated system is purposed to scan for. People can no longer profit off their work, hobbies, or life of which YouTube granted them the opportunity in the first place. Now, instead of supply and demand, it's liberty or reward. If I criticize you, YouTube deems you entitled to potentially censor or suppress me, conflating criticism and jokes with insult and bullying. Instead of either encouraging you to comment on that film, make your own film in response, or just ignore it. Luckily, alternatives like the BitChute, Library, Patreon, and Subscribestar exist, allowing you to profit on every video, but YouTube is still prominent amongst the competition. Last time I proposed fair use guidelines. Link to that will be in the description below, as I said before. In today's film, I will be proposing my own community guidelines, or what I prefer to call trigger warnings guidelines, because it is about the individual, not the group. I am somewhat familiar with the policies semi-related to the community guidelines. However, because they are not simply defined, inconsistent, or too vague, it is unnecessarily isolating and can be fascistic. That's not an exaggeration. But regardless, I am proposing one type of flag system that only affects the viewer who strikes the video, not the publisher or other viewers. And that the 8 reasons to flag a video, which are things you could potentially be sensitive to or affect you, which will be the following: high volume, flashing lights, profanity, indecent exposure, violent or repulsive, blood/gore, child abuse, and infringes my rights. Obviously, the first 2 relate to your personal health, thus precautions would be warranted, especially if you are interested in watching a video that includes high volume regardless, or fluctuating flashing lights. The last is in relation to fair use and privacy. Now, the other 5 are solely about what you are personally sensitive to. Perhaps you don't want to see any form of nudity, whether it be part of an educational context or not. Though if it isn't censored or for educational purposes, it should be privated, unless YouTube is willing to go for 18+ feature. You may also be against viewing violence or disturbed by the sight of blood or general damage to the body. All in all, what you are warned about in regards to what you are comfortable with viewing should only affect you. This could also be applied to the parental control aspect of YouTube, in which a parent controls what one child what one's child isn't allowed to see for a set period of time. I say isn't because a child should not be prevented from anything specific indefinitely, given a parent's job is to teach their child how to make reasonable arguments, engage in the world, and take care of themselves, confronting what they are uncomfortable with. First and foremost, a trigger warning should only warn a potential viewer of what they may hear or see. Trigger warnings shouldn't prevent a viewer from viewing a video, but allow them to consent to viewing a video knowing said video contains such mature and/or potentially triggering content. A content creator should be free to apply trigger warnings relevant to the content shown in each of their videos before publishing, but shouldn't be punished for not doing so. However, in doing this, it makes it unnecessary for them to censor profanities or disturbing or inappropriate visuals. I believe a viewer of YouTube content should be able to customize the trigger warnings with their account settings, checking off the boxes for the previously mentioned personal trigger warnings. So, certain videos applying specific trigger warnings should warn only said potential viewer before continuing to watch said video. Obviously, these customized trigger warnings would only apply to videos with established trigger warnings. Thus, a number of videos of which a content creator hasn't applied trigger warnings for will not warn a potential viewer of content that triggers them. I see this as a good thing, given protecting someone from something or someone else doesn't allow them to learn how to deal with the situation of which they are prone to experiencing, and either learn to challenge and come out unscathed, or perhaps a changed person. However, in regards to the inverse, a viewer should also be able to customize one's list of channels, regardless if said viewer is subscribed to said channels, to be exempt from specific trigger warnings given said viewer either enjoys or does not mind the content from said channels. So these channels, of which a viewer exempts from a trigger warning, should be automatically added to a list of channels exempt from said trigger warning. I also think that a viewer should be able to add channels to more than one list of channels given said channels are exempted from more than one trigger warning. Said list of channels should be shown below the specific trigger warning a channel is being exempted from. At this point, I'm just reading off the bullet points of these guidelines from this point on, considering they are some of the full sentences. A viewer, if choosing to subscribe to a content creator's channel, should be given three choices: to exempt said channel from all trigger warnings, to exempt said channel from specific trigger warnings, or keep all trigger warnings. Allowing people to customize the trigger warnings would make disclaimers by content creators unnecessary. Given these trigger warnings don't prevent potential viewers from viewing any videos flagged by others, this trigger warning system cannot be abused, meaning it is very flexible and unbreakable. That is it for my community guidelines proposal, or trigger warnings, or I guess flag system. However, just in case it wasn't clear, I don't agree with YouTube taking down any video, regardless of the nature of the content, unless it infringes your rights. Nor do I agree with YouTube giving the viewers influence in what other potential viewers may be interested in seeing, only because they themselves hate, dislike, or disagree with the content. That being said, it shouldn't even be one of the existing reasons to flag a video. All in all, the automated flag system as it is now must be done away with. It misfires a lot, and a bot doesn't factor in context, and humans have personal preferences, but that shouldn't impact others. You can ignore a video criticizing you, or you can respond, but YouTube should not get involved because you feel they should. That's not a valid reason. Before I end this film, I will mention two things. First, the one and only reason a flagging should lead to the taking down of a film is the infringement of one's rights, whether it be your privacy or copyright. Second, I have also included a link to the document featured in this video in the description below for you to do what I encouraged you to do with the previous document. Other than that, feel free to comment, share, and subscribe for more randomness along the way.